Hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC out here at the Avon Park Air Mars Club. We're going to take up the third flight ever of the Kavan Bristell B-23. The wind has really kicked up, so we're going to see how she handles wind. Approach will be from that corner because the wind is coming from that direction. All right.
Motors armed.
High rates, 100% throws, 30% expo, and running in my
Manual mode.
AS3X, as I'm going to need for the wind. Let me get turned around here. Timer set for 5.5 minutes. Will not need takeoff flaps. All right, here we go. Whoa, kind of windy. That's a good flying plane though. Really is. A down elevator needed.
Time remaining 5 minutes.
All right, kick it up. Oh, wings flexing awful bad, but there again, I really wasn't supposed to turn the aircraft like this. This is a scale flying plane, so it needs a fly scale. Wind is really messing with her. Yeah, landing's going to be very interesting. Landing was not a problem. But actually, this is where the wind really helped me with my landing. Because it gave me just enough resistance and plenty of control. All right, we'll get turned around here. Now I bent that one gear back out, so it does have kind of somewhat weaker gear. Just be careful with your landings, but it will bend back out pretty easily. Do not need takeoff flaps, that's for sure.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
A little bit back pressure on the elevator and she'll lift right up for you. Actually, I put in too much down elevator earlier. Out of the power completely. Now back in just a touch of power. Don't let too much wing underneath that wing, she'll flip over on you. Great flying plane. I'm really impressed with this plane. And I thought Kavan was well, my ignorance, I thought it was a fairly new company. I know it's newer in the United States, but apparently Kavan's been around since before, during the brushed era, if you want to call that an era. So they've been around for quite a while, just not a big presence in the United States. However, people ask me, well, what about parts? Well, you'll have to get them from the Kavan website in Germany. But they do offer a complete line of replacement parts for their planes, which is good. I mean, people can say what you want about Free Wing and E-Flight and all them, and Arrows, but at least they offer parts. Now, Arrows sometimes runs low on their parts, but and FMS sometimes too. But E-Flight and Free Wing and Flightline, they almost always carry a bunch of parts. What I don't
Time
like
remaining
about
3.
E-Flight's parts is they sell parts like in bundles. If you just need a specific, you know, like a joint or something, you got to buy a whole set of stuff. And I think that's kind of, excuse the term, BS. With Freewing, they pretty well, all little parts, everything is pretty much sold separately. So, not completely, but pretty much. They're a lot nicer about that. Yeah, she'll float, float, and float. She will float and float and float.
Landing flaps.
Even in the wind, I guess I am going to have to use some flaps to slow her down. Oh, beautiful, beautiful plane.
Flaps up.
All right, get a couple more in, then we'll switch to a different plane. That wind, thing about this plane though, she's very, very light. Just unusually light. So, great for the battery, but control can be a little bit of an issue. Didn't even need takeoff flaps. All right, kick it up a little bit.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
Sorry, honey. Maybe I can land without flaps this time. I got enough of a wind and now it's more out of the due west, so that helps. There we go. All right, one more. One more. Yeah, that wind right at her tail, she's having a hard time with it. Like I say, the plane is unusually light. Good flying plane. All right. Do have a lot of play in that wheel.
Prop secured.
Yeah, got a lot of play in that wheel. All you got there. Yeah, that's too much play. That set screw and there's a flat screw and you really have to anchor that down. So I'm going to tighten that back up and see if that doesn't help. Maybe put a little bit of Loctite in there since the whole thing's metal in that area. So let's check the battery. Because that's what I noticed. If that screw loosens up any, you start getting a lot of play. So that's part of the problem. So I don't say that's a design flaw, it's just nature of the beast. Maybe they could come up with a different way of doing it, maybe. 50%, so that's still a good storage rate. I like to have a little less than that, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, folks, well, there you go. That is the Kavan Bristell B-23 Sport Jet, a lot like the Cirrus SR-22T from E-Flight. And just keep an eye on the steering mechanism, make sure that set screw, it's a very big flat screw. Make sure that stays nice and tight. And that's really the only, that, and that hatch is okay. I didn't like the way the hatch, but it's been doing fine. So, all right, that was the third flight. God bless y'all. Don't forget, faith, family, and friends. And then Bristol's from Kavan. Bye-bye.